Hello everyone, you are welcome to our channel. In this tutorial video, we shall be looking at algebraic processes 2. Specifically, we'll be considering equations from word problems. Without wasting much of our time, let's quickly get down to this. How do we solve problems when it is given in form of English language? A lot of students have been having issues about solving questions whenever it's being written in an English language, and how do you translate that particular English words, which is usually referred to as word problems, into mathematical expressions. Alright, we'll be taking some couple of examples to be able to educate us properly and to give us the right perspective on how to go about this. Alright, so let's just look at question 1. This very question is saying the sum of 2,440 is made up of 100 naira and 10 naira notes. And it went further to say that there are 6 times as many 100 naira notes as there are 10 naira. Alright, so we are asked to find the number of 100 naira notes. So basically what the examiner will have us to do is to find the number of 100 naira notes that is going to be in this sum, the total sum of 2,440. Alright, since we don't know the number, usually this is an algebra, just like what we have been saying before. We need to understand that whenever we are dealing with algebraic expressions like this, we normally use the unknown to represent what we don't know. Alright, so then when we're able to find the right equation, then you'll be able to solve appropriately, then you get the value of what you are looking for. Alright, so what I'm going to do in the first instance is to say let the number of the notes, because we have 2 of them, let the number of the notes be X. Alright, so in this case we have 10 naira notes, and also we have 100 naira notes. Alright, so we are using X to represent the number of notes. So now we will now move further. The question now went further to say there are 6 times as many 100 naira notes as there are 10. Alright, so meaning this is going to be multiplied by 6 because we have 6 times. So whatever number 10 naira note is having, 6 times of it is what we are going to have for the 100 naira notes. Good. Now the next thing we have to do is to find the sum. So what's going to be the sum of notes? In other words, the sum of both the 10 naira notes and the sum of the 100 naira notes. Now if this is the number, then for me to have the total number of 10 naira notes, the total number of 10 naira notes is going to give me 10 times X, X being the number of notes. So finally I'm going to have it to be 10X. Similarly, the total number of 100 naira notes is going to be my 6X, which is the number of 100 naira notes that we have multiplied by 100. So we want to know that we're going to be, so the total 100 naira note I'm going to have is going to be 600X. Alright, so the question went further to tell us that their sum, it said the sum of all the notes is equal to 2,440. That now implies that my 10X, which is the total number, sum of the 10 naira notes, added to the total sum of the 100 naira notes will be equals to 2,440. When we do this, we are going to have 610X to be equal to 2440. So the number of notes which is denoted by x is now going to be 2440 divided by 610. I believe we are following this. Very quickly, let's just solve this problem. I can just divide gradually. This is going to take care of this, and we can just bring up our calculator and you can just do this on your own. This is 244 divided by 61 from what we have on our screen, and this is going to give us x is equals to 4. All right, so we have been able to have a value for our representation, which is x, that stands for the number of notes. All right, so now the question asks us to find the number of notes of the 100, and this is the expression that is going to give us that answer, because that's what we stated from the beginning, that we are going to have this. This actually denotes the let the number of notes, sorry, this should be let the number of notes be x, right? So that of 10x, that of 100x. So this expression now says 6 times as many 100 naira notes. That's why we multiply this by 6. So the total number of 100 naira notes that will be there now. So number, or let's say the total number of 100 naira notes, which is denoted by 6x, is now going to give us 6 times 4, which is equals to 24. So we are going to have 2400 naira notes. I believe we understand this. All right, so let's look at another question. This is question 2. In this very question, we are told that a train travels a certain journey and is supposed to arrive at midday. When its average speed is 40 km per hour, it arrives at 1 p.m. When its average speed is 48 km per hour, it arrives at 11 a.m. What is the length of the journey? All right, so one thing I want to point our attention to here is that we are able to see something very important that I want to show us. We can see that we have a midday, which is the time of our expected time of arrival, but because of the variation in the speeds as this particular train journeys, we discover that we have a different we have variation also in the time. You see, the one with a higher time happens to with a higher speed happens to arrive at a lower time, which is of course what is expected. All right, so what do? We are going to look at for the fixed variable. Now, the midday is the expected time. On a neutral day, if this train is supposed to move, every train is supposed to arrive at midday. But what we discover is that due to the variation of the speeds, we are having a different time of arrival. All right, so what am I going to do? What I'm going to look at first is to look at this very fixed time. I'm going to be building my idea on this. So now the time of arrival is midday, all right, which we actually don't know what that is. So what I'm going to do is I will say that let that time of arrival, which is midday, time of arrival, or expected time of arrival, let's make it expected time of arrival, let it be equal to x. Yeah, I'm making this in terms of x because I can see that both journey, depending on the speed, has to do with the time, and is a function of this particular expected time of arrival. But we see that the first one actually arrives at 1 p.m., which is, if the midday happens to be 12, for example, then meaning it has added an hour, while the other one, an hour has been taken away from it. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to let the expected time of arrival to be x. All right. So, but I know that the speed is equals to distance traveled over time taken. Good. So I'm going to have my distance. If I make distance the subject, is going to be equals to speed multiplied by time. All right. So the next thing I'm going to do now is, because the question is asking for what is the length of the journey, so they want to know the distance that this particular train covered as its sojourn. All right. So what am I going to do? I'm going to try and find time for each case. So we have two separate journeys with different speed. Okay, so let's say this is journey 1 and I have journey 2. So let's list out the parameters that are there. Okay, for journey 1, I have my speed to be equal to 40 kilometers per hour. Of course, for journey 2, I have my speed to be 48 kilometers per hour. Okay, sorry, 48 kilometers per hour is what we have. Now, another thing is I saw here is the time of arrival, the time here, which I can call T1. Of course, from what I observed, I saw that this arrived an hour later than the expected time. So if the expected time is X, this has added 1 hour to it for it to get to the destination. For this journey 2, if the expected time is X, expected time of arrival is X, this has actually gained an hour. So we are going to less 1 hour from the expected time, which is the midday. All right. So this is just to give us a perspective so that we can see what I'm doing. I believe we are understanding what I'm doing. So one of the things that I want us to pay proper attention to is this particular expected time of arrival. All right. So let's now form an equation with this. That's the first thing we need to do. Another thing I want to stress here is that the distance covered is the same, though they have varying speeds. So let's assume the train is moving from point A to point B. This distance did not change. So it's starting from here and it's stopping here. All right, though the speed at which the train travels in each case differs. So, but the distance did not change. All right, so having that in mind, we are going to agree with me that the distance here, which is D1, and the distance here is denoted by D2, but D1 will be equal to D2 because the distance will not change. It's still the same distance the train covered in each case. All right, so let's now make the distance the subject of the formula, just like what we have done here. We're able to see distance to be equals to speed times time. All right, so what do? We know that for the first case, which is the first journey, D1, which is the distance, is going to be the speed, which is 40, multiplied by the time, which is X plus 1. All right, so let's quickly do for the distance for the second one also. Okay, so to do for D2, we're also going to have D2, which is equal to, in this case, the speed is 48 and the time here is X minus 1, is able to gain time, so we less that. All right, so I believe we understand the formula we are using. This is the formula we are using. This is our speed and this is our time. All right, so but we agreed that d1 is equals to d2 because the distance covered did not change, it's the same. So what does that mean? It means that 40 now into x plus 1 will be equal to 48 into x minus 1. All right, so if you open this, you are going to have 40 x plus 40 which is equals to 48x minus 48. Okay, so if we collect like terms, we are going to have 40x minus 48x is equals to negative 48 negative 40. All right, and this is going to give us negative 8x, and this is going to give us 88. Now negative 88, we're going to have negative 88 here. All right, so if we do that, we are going to have minus 8x. Let's just repeat it and see so that we can have a better view. So we divide both sides by the coefficient of x, in this case, which is negative 8. So when we do this, all right, this of course is gone. The minus cancel minus, 8 here 1, 8 here is 11. So we have our x to be equals to 11. Okay, so that time, the expected time of arrival is actually 11. We have it to be 11. So what's going to be the length of the journey? We can just make use of any of this. Can make use of any of this to get our journey. They said if the average speed of this is this and it arrives at 11 a.m., what is the length of the journey? So let's just use any of, since the distance is the same, so I can just use d1 equals 40 into x plus 1. All right, so this is going to give us 40 into 11 plus 1. And that's 40, sorry, that space is choked. Let me just come back to here. That's going to be, so our distance is going to give me 40 times 12. Okay, that's what we are going to have. And that was going to give us 480 kilometer per hour. Kilometer as our distance. Distance is measured in kilometers. Speed is measured in kilometer per hour. So we are going to have it in kilometers. So this is going to be the answer. We are going to have distance finally to be 480 kilometer finally. All right. Thank you very much. Let's also look at another question. I believe this is clear. Let's see another question. Now, this is another question before us, and in this case, we are told that a boy is 10 years old and the mother is 37 years old. In how many years' time will the mother be twice as old as her son? All right, so we have two things to consider here. We have the boy and we also have the mother. All right. So we are told that the boy's age is 10, while that of the mother is 37. All right. Now we are being asked to tell them in how many years time will something about this is going to happen. In other words, when will the mother be twice as old as her son? All right. So since we don't know that year, we say that let that year, okay, let that year be, we try and represent it because we don't know yet the x. So in x years time, it's going to be that the mother is going to be twice as old as the son. All right, so 12 years time meaning is futuristic. So whenever we are looking at the future in mathematics, what we do, we simply add. So we are going to add that year to both of them. So for example, if it's 5 years, we add his present age to 5, the mother's present age to 5. Okay, so now when say in how many years time will the mother be twice as old as this? All right, so whatever we make the boy to be twice, in other words, when will they be equal to this? That's what the examiner is saying. So this is the equation we must be able to get. That when I multiply the boy's age in x years time by 2, it should be equal to the age of the mother. Should be equals to the age of the mother. So he said the mother be twice as old as son. All right. So when we do this, we are going to have 20 plus 2x, which is going to give us 37 plus x. So if we collect like terms, we are going to have 20 minus 37, which is equal to x minus 2x. Okay, so when we do this, we are going to have negative 17 is equals to negative x. So we have that x is equals to 17. So the answer is going to be 17. In other words, in 17 years time, that's when the mother will be twice as old as son. All right, so let's look at another question. In this very question 4, we are told that a water tank contains 5 times as much as another water tank. When 20 liters of water are poured from the first tank into the second, the first contains 3 times as much as the second. How much water did each tank contain originally? Okay, so originally they want to know. So how do we do this? We are going to have, let's say this is the first tank and this is the second. Okay, there is a level of water here. There's a level of water. So this is the second tank. Okay, this is the first. Now, we are told that a water tank contains 5 times as much as another. So since we don't know what they actually contain initially, so we say let the original, should we say capacity now? Let the original capacity of each tank be x, maybe x liters. Okay, all right, this is x, this is x. We don't know, but we are told that 5 times, the first one contains 5 times as much as the other. So that means that 5 times, this very expression means we are going to multiply the one for this with 5. Okay, so that it will be 5 times as much as what this one contains. Now they now went further to say when 20 liters of water are poured from the first tank into the second, so this one loses 20 liters and this one gains 20 liters. Okay, so when that is done, what happens? We are told that the first contains 3 times as much as the second. So whenever you see that expression, they are simply saying that once that is done, they were able to notice that the first tank, the capacity of the first tank, or the content of the first tank, is now equal to 3 times. It's now equal to 3 times the capacity of the second tank. All right. So if this is what we have gotten our equation. What do we do now? We simply simplify and collect like terms where necessary. So this is going to give us 3x plus 60. All right, so we collect like terms, we have 5x minus 3x, which is equals to 60 plus 20. All right, this is going to give us 2x equals to 80. And of course, we are going to have both sides being divided by 2, which is the coefficient of x. Okay, and this is going to give us 40. So we have x is equals to 40. All right, and this is what we have. So the question is saying how much water did each tank contain originally. So the first tank, in other words, before they subtracted 20 liters from the first and added 20 liters to the second. So they want to know what is the capacity they are containing. For the first, we actually have it to be 5x, so which is going to be 5 times 40, and that's going to give us 200 liters. So we are going to have 200 liters. So actually the first tank contains 200 liters, while the second tank contains just x, and our x happens to be 40, so which is 40 liters. All right, so the first tank is going to contain 200 liters, while the second tank originally contains 40 liters. All right, so let's look at another question as we proceed further. All right, this is question 5. So this question states that a man cycles to a village at 18 km per hour and returns at 12 km per hour. If it takes 6 1/4 hours for the double journey, how far does he ride all together? So good, we see in this instance, we can see that we have 2 different speeds, 18 and 12. All right, so let's assume the man actually cycles between point A and point B. So we can see this is a journey. He moves this way, and also he returns back to the starting point. All right, so one thing I want to establish here is that the journey to and fro, the distance covered is the same. So the distance does not change. That's one thing I want us to note. And also, we are given the total time. If the one for the first journey, which is the tow journey now, if it's T1, then the second one, let's say this is for the first, then let the second time, let's denote it by T2. So when it's going from A to B, the time he used was T1. When he's traveling from B to C, the time he used was T2. Okay, by the way, we are denoting it. And what does that imply? It implies that T1 plus T2 must be equal to the total time, which is 6, 1/4 hours. All right. Now, having done this, let's now look at some of the things that we have. All right, for the first journey, which is the distance as it journeys from A to B. Okay, we are told the speed denoted by S to be 18 km per hour. And that's all we have for that. And the second journey, which is from B to A, as it's returning back, the speed is given as 12 km per hour. All right. But we are told that from what we have established here, that the distance is the same. So the distance here, D, if I denote it by D1, and the distance here, if it's being denoted by D2, of course, I'll have my D1 to be equals to D2, since both of them, I mean, the distances covered did not change. It remained the same. All right. So, and I know that speed is given as distance traveled over time taken. All right, for me to get my time now is going to give me distance divided by speed. All right, now the distance is the same for both of them. So, but I have varying time. All right, so for this journey, which is the first one, I'm going to have my t1 to be equals to d divided by the speed, which is 18. And for the second journey, I'm going to have my t2 to be equals to d divided by 12. But from this equation that we have here, you can call this equation maybe 1. From this equation, I know that my t1 plus t2 must be equals to, which is, this is the same thing as 25 over 4. Okay, we change it to improper fraction. So my t1, which is d over 18, when I add it to my t2, which is d over 12, this should be equal to 25 over 4. I believe we are understanding what I'm doing. So when we find the LCM of that particular expression, when we find the SCM of the particular expression, all right, or we just maybe let's just multiply the denominators together. If you multiply 18 by 18 times 12, that will give us 216. Okay, just for easy, then we simplify further later. Then when you do this, you are going to have 12d plus 216 divided by 12 is going to give you 18. 18 times d is going to give you 18d, of course, which is equals to 25 over 4. All right, so if we simplify this, if we add this together, you're going to have 30d divided by 216 is equal to 25 over 4. What do we do next? We simply cross multiply. When we cross multiply, we are going to have 30d times 4 is equals to 216 times 25. So we simply divide. Let's divide both sides by 4 first. Okay. So we have 216 times 25 divided by 4. You can as well just do it straight. But if we do this, we are going to have 30d is equals to 1350. If you use your calculator and punch this, and d finally is going to be 1350 divided by 30, and that is going to give us 45 kilometers. All right, so but the examiner is asking for the ride. They say how far does he ride all together? So for the double journey, so in other words, A to B is 45, B to A also will be 45. So how far? The total distance covered, the total distance will now be 45 to plus 45 through. So we are going to have from A to B 45, from B to A 45. So we are going to have a total of 90 kilometers. All right, I think that is understandable. Let's just look at the last question under this particular topic. Look at this question. We are told that a stick is 9 cm longer than another. So that gave us a sense of, we have two sticks. Let's assume this is stick 1. This is a stick 2. Okay. Then we're told that is 9 cm longer than. So let the original length be x. Let the length be x. So if this is x and this is x, we're told that one is 9 cm longer. So we add 9 to this. Let's assume this is the longer one. We are adding 9 to it. Okay, then I say 2/5 or 2/5 of the longer stick is equal to 1/2 of the shorter. All right, so 2/5 of the longer, they said, is equal to 1/2 of the shorter, which is x. Find the length of the longer stick. All right, so let's quickly do this. This is going to give us 2 into x plus 9 divided by 5, which is the same thing as saying x/2. If you open this up, you are going to have 2x plus 18 is equals to 5, which is equals to x/2. So if we cross multiply, we are going to have 2 into 2x plus 18, which is equals to 5x. If that multiply, if we open this, remove this bracket, you are going to have 4x plus 36, which is equals to 5x. All right, so 36 is equals to 5x minus 4x. So we have that 36 is equals to x. All right, so x is 36. So the examiner asks us to find the length of the longer, which is being represented by x plus 9. All right, so the longer length, or the longer stick rather, is being represented by x plus 9, and our x9 is 36, so it's going to give us 36 plus 9. All right, and when we do this properly, we are going to have it to be 45. So we are going to have it as 45 centimeters. All right, I believe we enjoyed this video, and I believe we understand the way we have solved it. Please, if you have any question, kindly drop it in the comment section. And as we proceed further, please keep watching our videos as we bring more to your doorstep. Please kindly share, like, and subscribe. And as we do that, we are being encouraged. Thanks for watching. See you in our next video.